From the veil, the sheath wrapped around our arms, bonded together, we are trying to unwind the invisible questions, defining our own unique reasons and purposes that came from the confusion and experiences that alter our lifestyles. Is the world just the hypnotizing dream of illogical presences of people who are using authority to run the world in conformity and not promoting individuality? When we wake up, the day is a routine, a plan, not an adventure, not a mystery. Life is always a suggestion of mythical extravagance, not a predictable definition like our daily lives. Why aren't we living a life of progressive expansion? Where is the time for inward learning of ourselves? The daily distractions and the construction of how money runs the world, it prevents us from living a real full life. Ask yourself this: if you had 50% more free time in your daily schedule, how much stress would you be relieved of, and how much valuable time could you devote to personal thought? No direction given or expressed in schools regarding inspiration, the philosophy of loving the self, of course, so much more left out. There is no mentioning of mental health progression or understanding. Fast food education based on too little and not enough on actual and factual human prosperous directions and values, and the quality of life and conscious awareness, and of course, much more. Money isn't supposed to decide how life is lived. Life is lived as a being, not a slave. Slave sounds maybe harsh, yes, but if you didn't make money, then what would happen? Thus, it's a world of quiet slavery. In certain countries, it's real slavery. This explains why so many people have no real advisable direction in their life and go with mainstream religion that asks to serve, not to learn. The cycle is there to serve money purposes. Religions such as Christianity and Muslim religion don't teach anything but to serve, and these religions are both expressed worldwide by criminals, murderers, and an authority, much less a direction. The answer is expressed and explained through many ways of expressions in our own unique lives. There's always a deeper meaning behind a subject of interest. Interest attracts focus, and focus attracts translations, and that depends on the current depth and also potential depth of that person. Because you have learned much of one subject, the possibility of learning more in that subject are going to always have something deeper. This doesn't apply much to this reality. However, the factor of why this reality is ran is an ironic factor. But what I mean doesn't apply to this reality is that this reality is to entirely teach no value in deepening and questioning subjects of all sorts. So decision-making is left out of school. If it were successfully taught, then violence and conflicts of many sorts in teens would be decreased to very rare and documented events before and now. Life isn't defined on paper or by needing paper that is used to help preserve life. Awareness is what generates expansions and new doorways in focus of consciousness. This applied to nearly anything can become a precognitive quality, and the discovering within the subject can be on a broad scale broken down and explained in various angles. What angles we are aware of doesn't mean those angles are limited and don't have their own unique firmament of unique definitions, and those angles of the subject have their own angles as well. The subject of happiness is filled with many questions rather than answers. To have no true direction in life and no education at the right age before influence of this reality sets in is being absent and left out of most people's lives. Most are wanderers than explorers. Happiness is the correlation and unity between one's own deepest depths of self-understanding with openness of the selves, exploration, and self-defining the many angles, and an understanding of multidimensional foundations set within those angles that are understood, and how they are all relevant and possibilities understood by the self depending on one's intent. One's intent at that point in discovery isn't truly capable of becoming wrong, evil, or sad, pitiful in value of life. To be able to get that far equals a very comfortable understanding the self and allows the self to grow at a very peaceful, exciting, self-completely unavoiding to furthering her or his purpose in life. With constant conflict with the self, material items become a quick fix and an outlet. Rather than the self as the medium for all exploration and progress and happiness, joy spawns some of the best states of mind. In joy, the mind is capable of making highly tremendous changes. Remember a joyous time in your life and combine that with a realization that might have been from music, art, etc. We're taught to think in temporary and convenient ways rather than in in-depth thought processes that have extremely gratifying pure foundations for growth at an early of enough age to rise to a higher consciousness. Instead, most are left to wander rather than know and be certain. Instead, most are completely reliant and influenced by temporary ideals. The ideas behind philosophy aren't understood or valued as they used to. There is more interest in entertainment than the actuality and reality within the depths of self-awareness. This conflict within the human race prevents many doorways that are able to turn around the entire globe. If the world media decided for 2 days straight to interrupt other popular TV channels rather than just only the news and news-related channels, with exceptionally accurate human values along with professors and Nobel Peace Prize philosophers, the world would be entirely swiped, as in this reality. The world government doesn't support this, nor supports true understanding for anyone. Thus, this reality around you is at times amusing because of wasteful conflicts, but at times frightening because of the true threat of the economy collapsing. I want to take a moment to explain dimensional thinking because dimensional is not a widely used word in everyone's vocabulary. Dimensional is the expressed factors of multifaceted thought processes. Thought processes are dependent on lifespan of interest and flow of progressive mindsets, all dependent upon the individual's life circumstances and gathered intelligence. Multifaceted thought processes are luminescent in how many directions and angles can be covered on multiple subjects. When you think about a memory, this is a strand, all linked to your simplistic way with thinking of that memory. Of course, a memory difficult to remember, the thread then has gaps or missing pieces of that strand of thought. In the case, a memory that is simple and has no challenge within explaining details and ideas about, etc., taking that memory and applying a comparison adds another thread. This is the first step in multitasking thought processes. Challenge, though, for most is a profound subject and then the understanding of this subject. As for an example, for this explanation, we will take the memory of a song you've heard that easily influenced and maybe even inspired you, preferably the inspirational part, your directness of that event and time length of remembrance, and the ease of understanding the landmark of inspiration within yourself is how threads of thought processes hold up in both formidable foundations and how they can expand and connect with your other thought processes. To understand this inspirational memory of music for yourself is two strands that are side by side. However, if the inspiration is welcoming and the music still holds value in your life, then these threads of aware ideas and thought processes then wrap around each other, becoming a stronger thought process together. Keeping that in mind, which creates an aura of understanding for processes of attention and understanding, combine the inspiration and that memory that are intertwined with a style of art that is understood to have inspirational properties as well. If successful, then this is where these threads of thought processes can bear a colorful meaning. Color and thoughts are quite possible. However, the color of thought processes